Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome to today's video in the world of warships with the Tier 8 German cruiser, the Admiral Hipper. Now this ship is pretty good. We've got a top tier battle here. She's quite tanky, and just like all the German cruisers, when you get to Tier 8, 9 and 10, especially when you get to Tier 10, you've got some good armor layout, which is good for bouncing, especially front on shells. But what we're going to do is, with the Hipper, is we're going to go through and show you how to play her for people who don't really have the type of confidence to be able to use the German hydro, which is brilliant hydro, really good 6-kilometer hydro, and the tankiness of the armor, and use it quite well. So we're going to play it a little different in this battle. It's not a bad way to get used to playing. Actually, the Rune does this type of gameplay that we're going to play really well, because it's got 66% of its firepower at the back of the ship, just like the Nuremberg and the Königsberg at Tier 5 and 6. And the Hindi, which is the Tier 10, the Hindenburg, you sort of play it the same as well. It's very long. If you play it at long range, it'd be very effective ship. But in saying that, the Hindi can be played up close and personal as well. I have another game that I'll put up in maybe the next couple of weeks or so. It's another Hindenburg game, but it's a very different style of gameplay. It actually incorporates two styles of gameplay, but that's not the one that I wanted to use as the commentary. I wanted to use this one so that guys who are new to the line, grinding up the line, get used to playing it as a bit more of a support role than as a in their attack role. So that's why we're not running hydro with this ship today. Usually I run hydro. Even in this heavy CV meta, I prefer the German hydro because of how powerful it is. It's the best hydro in the game, especially when it runs at 6 kilometers. But it is a very heavy AA and CV heavy meta at the moment, and it's going to be worked on. Wargaming's been saying that they're going to work on that till about 8.4 at least. So what you can see here is I'm starting to kite away. I've seen a couple of targets, identified a couple of targets I'm going to fire at, and I want to kite away. And not when you're kiting away, you don't want to just totally run away. As you can see, I'm spotted by an enemy ship, and I know that there's the two battleships up there. There's the North Carolina and the Roma. And now I'm not spotted, so I didn't want to panic when there was only one ship aiming at me. I know that there's a destroyer in the cap here, which is not good for my battleships, especially because my battleships are aggressive and want to go in. But there's not much you can do against an Asasio, and it's the only DD on the team, and it's in there. Now the Asasio can't torp me because it can only torp the battleships and aircraft carriers, but without my hydro I can't actually push in and see him if he's still in the smoke. And the last thing you want to do is rush in without your hydro and you get shot at by all the battleships up the top. That's not what we want. So I'm going to reverse a little bit just to try and get some into a position where I can fire, but it's not coming. I'm not getting there quick enough. The enemy pulling back as our ships are moving in aggressively. And the one good thing about the German cruisers is they are great fleet escorts. And you can use your battleships very well. Whether you're in a division or not, you can use your battleships to use them as anchors, as I talk about all the time, and pick off targets. Now this is a top tier battle, so in a tier 8, so this is quite a rare battle, because most of the time you'll find yourself playing in tier 10 battles. It's just a sad reality of the tier 8 ships, unfortunately, in World of Warships. I'm a big believer in the +1, -1 matchmaking. I think that if a game is going to be balanced, it'll be easier to balance at +1, -1 instead of having +2, -2, because you've got to balance your tier 8s, diverse tier 10s, but then all of a sudden you have to have tier 6s that can take on these tier 8s that are balanced to tier 10, so it's just too big a spread. Yeah, I don't really agree with it, but anyway, with the 11.2 kilometer detection is very good for a cruiser, and her guns are quite good too. You've got good velocity on German guns. Now, I want to go into, I'd go into lots of different details and things like that, you know, armor layouts, overmatch mechanics and things like that, but what we're trying to do with this channel at the moment with these sorts of games is just help people to play effectively without having to know too much about their ship. Once you start getting better at the game and we can get everybody above that 48% and get everyone up over 50%, then we can start going into things like that. I mean, I might do that more in my breakdown videos. I'll go through overmatch mechanics and things like that on my live videos. So this is essentially the type of play that you want to play. Not just German cruisers, your French cruisers, and even your Russian up until the Moskva, which is totally different. It's that fleet escort style. You want to hang around, you want to get the crossfires, you want to burn. And with the German high explosive, you have 1/4 penetration instead of 1/6 penetration, and so then that means you don't need to run IFHE to do any damage. That means you don't have to really run off with Dems Expert to try and set fires to to counteract the IFHE. But I use the Dems Expert for the extra fire chance, and it's great. And that's pretty much how you play the German cruisers like this. But believe me, when you get the AP out, the armor piercing on German cruisers, and that was a lovely shot there, lovely shot for a Dev strike. The German cruisers with their AP can be quite effective. It's the same as the French. So good thing about Germans though is that German ships, especially high tiers, even their cruisers, get pretty good armor layouts. So very hard to take citadels on and things like that. Now I'm just using this to see if the torpedo's there, to see how fast and he's going backwards, because you can use that to determine speed of how fast an enemy's going backwards or if he's going to start coming forwards, and it's quite handy. And I mean, I wouldn't really use the German torpedoes for anything anything attacking, because you can't get up there and attack. It just doesn't work. And so as you see, there's the deep water torpedoes from the Asasio. Asasio can't hit me, but he could damn well hit my battleships, can't he? Quite hard. Asasio is a great battleship killer, but if it's not a battleship heavy meta, he's going to have a bit of a trouble. So we're just going to sit out here and keep burning away on these battleships, the Roma and the NC, if he comes back in. And I'm going to start turning in a little bit. Like, I'm spotted, and I was targeted by one. Now I believe that the target was probably the Roma. The Asasio is not really going to target me down here, but those two battleships will. The Asasio is going to be looking for my battleships. So move in, try and dodge under some of these shells. The Roma has extremely high velocity on her guns, so careful of that. Although a lot of her shots will overpen because of the velocity. If it doesn't connect with that thicker armor properly, it's just going to go through the ship. So looking for a fire, hoping for RNG to be nice to us. And if we can, it'll be great, because barbecue season on any battleship is a good thing, especially when it's summer here in Australia, and that's barbecue season, although it's coming to a close soon. Now what I want to do is try and get this cap. Now that we've pushed the enemy battleships away, if we can get rid of the Roma and we can find out how close the Asasio is. So there's another torpedo from the Asasio. That's not what you want hitting your battleships, and unfortunately with the CV heavy meta as it is. Not many people are playing DDs, but so you got to be a little bit more vigilant as both battleships and cruisers. So as you can see, I'm not firing, and my detection's gone down to 11.2 again, which is good, because then that means that he's just outside my surface detection, and I can start to push in and see if I can capture this point. Now, you might notice down there, there's the green ring on the left hand corner just swapped over to the top. It's gone to the top. So what I want to do is, now that I'm facing this way with this new AA mechanic, I don't know how it works, because supposedly all your gunners run from one side of the ship to the other and man extra machine gun mounts or flak mounts on the other side of the ship. And I've put it on that way anyway, because I want my most potent AA on the outside of myself and of my ships that I'm escorting, so that if anyone does come near me, I can just open up with my AA and help to wreck the enemy ships, enemy aircraft from coming near my battleships. Now this game's not going too bad. We are one ship down to theirs compared to them. It's 4 ships down to 5, but we have lost our DD, and that's significant, especially when it's a Cossack, and the Cossack has a 5.5 surface detection and is very good Asashio hunter, and I've lost sight of him, but then he pops up over here, which is really, so this Asashio could have played very well, but he makes a real critical error there coming down that channel. If you're ever playing on this map and you're coming down that channel there between the A and the B cap, it is so dangerous for any ship, not like let alone a destroyer, but a destroyer which hardly has any health there, and there's not much room to turn around. And if there's 2 CVs in the game and you're the only one, yeah, that's I don't like to say too many negative things about people. That's a very questionable decision, because I don't think we're going to learn. You don't learn from negative comments. You learn from, a lot of people say work on your weaknesses, but I don't believe in that. I believe in working on your strengths. It's what makes you a good player, is your strengths. So if you hone them and work on them, then you counteract, you offset your own weaknesses by being super strong at your strengths. So now that we've just taken out the Normandy and the Asashio, we've gone up ahead on ships. Now we've got to try and get this cap. All the enemy teams been moving away. That North Carolina, we actually played him a couple of times during the day, and he played in a couple of our teams, and not too bad, although unfortunately for him in this game he's been pushed all the way back. And a lot of people think that you're out of the battle when you're a battleship back there, and I don't like battleships out on the B line. When I play battleships, I like to be closer, G line, D line, that sort of thing, depending on what side of the map I'm on. But a lot of battleships are always in the battle because of the range. So he turns around, he starts coming back in, and again I've been unspotted for a while, and then I just go with this, open up on him. Now he's looking at me, but you don't need to, as I said with kiting before, you don't need to panic away, you don't need to rush, you just need to get ready to be able to react to what they do. So he fires, and he's firing from so far away that it's going to take quite a while to get to me. So if I'm sitting still and just baiting a shot, you can't really judge whether I'm going to move forward or not. Am I going to go forward? Am I going to go backwards? You never know. So kiting, there's an art to kiting, and it's not just running like a headless chook. So what we want to do now, and it's a dangerous, it's a feasible and it's a tactic that works, but it's dangerous in this double CV meta at the moment, because if both enemy aircraft carriers would come at me, then I'd be relatively easy pickings. Any ship on its own at the moment is, without a fleet escort or something like that, or a US cruiser with lots of AA firepower, it's quite dangerous to go alone. But I made the decision to go this way based on the fact that there's my battleships in between me, and my CVs are down below me where they are. So what they have to do is, to get to my enemy, my CVs have to actually fly over the top of me. So I'm relatively safe kiting down this line, kiting down the 5 line here, to get crossfires from my battleships and my Adago over onto these last 3 enemy ships. So these are some things that we can look at when you're playing. Always keep your eye on the mini-map. Try to understand what's going on between you, your own players, and the team. Even if you're not on comms, if you're not in a division, look at what's around you and try to dissect the battle that way. If I can do some more of those breakdown games for you, then I can. They're the live ones that I go through, and I tell you what I'm thinking and stuff like that. So I wanted to go for shots on the Adago here. Lovely torp. Now that if you ever see a torp like that, he's going to be flooding, and you can see there, you saw the steam pop up out of the funnel of the ship. It means he was flooding. So as soon as that goes out, that means he's put the fire out. If I can get into fire on him, now I know it's a cruiser, and the fire doesn't burn as long, but he'll burn to death with that low health, and after a good fire like good flooding like that. Sorry. Now here, AP here, German AP here would have done a lot of damage, but remember you've got the 1/4 pound on the high explosive, so that's even effective as it is. So we've gone for him. Now what we want to do is get rid of the next threat to our battleships. So we're going to come around a bit more while we've got this Normandy in the crossfires. He's stuck now because he's overcommitted just a little bit too much. He hasn't given himself enough room to breathe and move around and turn away, because now all he'll have to do is he'll get broadsided by one ship or another, and unfortunately for him, he had to try and affect the battle. They all had to try and affect the battle. But sometimes you can affect the battle a little bit more if you try to stay clear and not rush your decisions, and that can be hard. It can be very hard in the heat of battle to think of all this stuff that goes on while you're getting shot at by multiple players. So while he's running and trying to escape, I'm also keeping my eye on both the North Carolina, who could hurt me a lot from where I am, and the Cleveland, because the Cleveland is pushing in hard. And I know that I've got a couple of battleships here around me and an Adago plus the 2 CVs, but I'm sitting, as you can see, I'm here broadside relatively to them. Now I've got a good enough angle that I could dodge away, but you just got to keep an eye on it. Now here I get the kill, and you hear that? It was a double strike. It was a double strike that didn't register. I only got one of them, so unfortunately, because I finished the battle with that first kill. Not bad. 71,000 damage is okay. I mean, it was bottom tier. We played a lot of passive fleet escort because of the way that the meta is at the moment, but finishing in 3rd, my division finished 1, 3 and 4, which I was pretty happy with. Always good, as I say, you're always pulling your weight. Anyway, we always run premium consumables, and our first modules are main armaments mod 1. We want to go with damage control mod 1. We want to go with aiming specialist mod 1, but again, if you're worried about CVs, AA guns mod 1 will be okay to use. Now I'm going with propulsion mod here because of that type of stop-start kiting play. And then we go with the concealment expert because you want to get that concealment down as much as you can. Captain skills, only got a 12-point captain at tier 8, but that's fine. Some of the ships you only need 10, so we're going to go priority target, know how many are shooting at us, whether we need to kite away or not. Expert marksman to get those turrets turning faster. The demolitions expert for some extra fire chance, because that's what you want to do, barbecue everybody. Concealment expert, and then we're going to run AR, because when you are a heavy cruisers and battleships are the only vessels that I would recommend AR on. AR is good enough for them to be able to boost their guns. A lot of the light cruisers and destroyers just fire quick enough, or almost too quickly, that you don't need AR, but with the bigger, higher caliber gun ships, that's really helpful. Anyway guys, that's my introductory to how to play the Hipper. I hope you get something out of it. Thanks for joining me, and stay safe out there.